Hi, welcome back to a brand new episode of Political Points on local2.ca. We're on the April 21st edition. We have the middle of the federal election, and we're pleased to welcome a very special guest. Promoted this show all month long, and we have a tribute to Joe Fratesi, our CAO, who has been in politics for well over 30 years and is a legend in Sault Ste. Marie. So welcome to the program, Joe.
I'm not so sure. A legend, certainly involved for the last 35 years, Andy. It's good to be here on your show.
Tremendous, and I wanted to do this and talk a little bit about your greatest moments as councillor, as mayor, and CAO. You've done it all in this community.
I first got elected in '76 as a councillor in Ward 6. Frank Manzo was then the councillor, and so I worked with Frank for a period of 6 years, three terms. At that point in time, I think Ward 6 was seen as a more rural area, and much of what I was involved in was trying to get Ward 6 to get equal attention. And so I spent much of my time trying to make sure that the roads were improved in Ward 6, because whether in fact or by perception, the people of Ward 6 believed that they weren't getting their fair share. The biggest thing I remember as councillor was getting some pumps, and I know Frank to this day hasn't forgiven me, but Bayview constantly flooded in the springtime, and there was a period where we were called out, and Board of Works had overflowing sewers, and Frank was there saying if they'd only listen and buy some pumps, we'd get this problem resolved. And I said, Frank, why don't we get on the phone? Well, things are flooding right now. Let's get some approvals. And he said, no, you're wasting your time. I got on the phone, and I got a majority of council to agree that night that if it was $50,000 or $60,000 that was required, they would in fact approve it. So. Frank was a little amazed that I was able to do that, but we got that formalized, and then they became known as the Fratesi pumps, and Frank had a problem with that for several years. So representing the people of Ward 6 was where I got my grounding, certainly where I learned the politics of our community, and I served under some great mayors. I served under Nick Turbovich, I served under Don McGregor. And I learned that this was something I wanted to do more of. I was elected mayor after one failed attempt. In 1985, I was elected, and I got re-elected in three altogether subsequent elections, total of 4. And during my period as mayor, there are many things that got done. None of it got done just by me, but certainly I was very happy that I was part of getting these things done. We built the waterfront walkway. We built the John Rhodes addition that saw a new arena and a pool added. We got rid of Trader's Metal, which had been a blight on the city's waterfront for many, many years. We got rid of A.B. McLean, which was a sand and gravel crushing operation next to the Civic Center. So we got lots done, and I guess if I was known for anything, it was being frugal as the mayor and trying to keep a lid, on expenditures.
I remember you had the 0% tax increase in the early 90s.
And we were able to do that, and people will say, well, why now as CAO aren't you able to do that? It's a different time. We had climbing assessments then, and we took full advantage of the assessments, and we always had increases in our grants from the province. And as you well know, we're happy if we have the same as the previous year right now. And more important,
that kind of thing just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen anymore. The need to stay frugal, the need to keep things so that the basics get done, and then you go as far as you can for some of these other things. Those principles haven't changed, but the way in which we get our revenues is not quite the same. In 1996, I became the CAO. Fairly controversial move. Some people still remind me that they didn't think it was right the way I got the job. I would like to think that 16 or 17 years later, I'm still at this job, and that people who may have been concerned will acknowledge now that maybe I was the best man for the job, and that maybe I'm doing a good job. I'd like to think that.
I think that's what I'm hearing in the community.
I would like to think that I've been doing a good job, and that this is probably my last stop in terms of career, and I would hope that in this position as well, that I will have left my mark on Sault Ste. Marie. Things like the SR Centre were built as a result of my involvement. Certainly not my own involvement. Again, no one can claim to be responsible for anything. All you can do is celebrate the fact that you were part of a team that got something done. We're building the West End Community Centre. We've done more road work in this community in the last short period of time than we've ever done. So those are the types of things that I would hope people remember.
And you were involved in the central, the railway, and
yes. Again, the council cut me loose from some of my normal duties and asked me to participate in, and I ended up chairing a committee that saved the rail line from going out of business. That's an important line, not only to Sault Ste. Marie and its industries, but to the communities between here and Sudbury. And had that line not been rescued, Algoma would have lost some of its competitive edge. Espanola likely would have shut down the Domtar mills, and many of the communities between here and Sudbury would have seen a lot more transport traffic and public safety compromised had we not been involved. But that was one that we just concluded in this past year, and it's one that I'm particularly proud of in terms of what we started with and what we got done when people said, you'll never be able to do that. You'll never be able to save that rail line. We did.
Was there a special moment, Joe, when back in the 70s where you said politics is the direction you'd like to go?
Quite an interesting story. I came back from law school and graduating from law school, and lawyers and politics tend to go hand in hand. I came back to Sault Ste. Marie in 1973, and I articled, and then I returned after being called to the bar in 75. And I wanted to get involved, so I put my name in when it was being advertised for boards and committees. And I thought I did all the right things. I called the then councillors and said I'd put my name in, I'd like to serve my community, but I didn't make it. And it kind of angered me, and said, well then, if I can't make it on an appointment basis, I guess I'll have to go out and get elected. So in the next upcoming election, I put together a team of people, friends and neighbors, who stuck with me throughout all of my political career. Same fellow that managed my campaigns, Ian McKenzie, was my first campaign manager, and the campaign workers stayed with me because they believed that I could contribute and help the community. So that's the reason I got involved in politics. And I've enjoyed every minute of my time, both as a politician, an elected member, and as an appointed administrative member of the leadership of this city.
Great, Joe. Thanks very much for coming on the show. You've definitely made a difference in this community.
Appreciate that, Andy. Thank you.
Thanks. That's our CAO, Joe Fratesi. We've had a tribute for him on Political Points, and that's another edition of Political Points. Will join us on Monday. Have a great Easter weekend, everyone.